Hello, all. It's Thursday night. We're hanging out with the one and only Andrei Martyanov. That's right. He of the Reminiscences of the Future blog and, of course, Smoothie X12. Let's talk. Hello, Garland Nixon here. And of course, you see the place you got to be. Reminiscence of the Future. We've got Andrei Martyanov right here. And there you go. All the stuff going on with all of the place you see he was on with Nima the other day. And Kim Ives, you got a good stuff here. So what he does is the stuff that he does, the stuff that he finds interesting is on there. And of course, on this side, look at this. And here's America's Final War, Disintegration, blah, blah, blah. But how about this? A book called Losing Military Supremacy, which is one I think you really have to get in order to understand what we're talking about tonight. And of course, America's Final War, Disintegration. So all of Andrei's great books, just click on them and you can get his books. All right, Andrei, let's talk about Losing Military Supremacy. One of the things that I know you've been talking about lately, and that is, we look at it and we say the West's air defense systems are, but I'll be charitable, inadequate. That's a good way of saying they don't work at all. Okay, they're missiles from the 1990s, basically. They're stuck in the 90s with their missiles. That the technology never really passed back there. Okay, so Russia is way ahead of them when it comes to particularly air defense missiles, electronic warfare, in numerous other areas. But it's not like Russia's sitting still saying, okay, well, we got some nice stuff. Let's just sit here and ride this out. Apparently, there's a new generation of technology that's coming out. Not new technology, a new generation of technology, apparently. Your thoughts, any hints, any rumors? What are you hearing that's in the pipeline as far as Russia's latest technological developments in military?
I made this video, my last video actually is about it, in part of it, a significant part of it. It's the news which are not even reported in the Western media, but Mr. Krasnikov and the, people big conscious of Russian Academy of Sciences, they delivered public statement. There will be obviously closed session where nobody will know what will be said there, but he reported to Mr. Putin. So it's not that small news. It's chairman of the Russian Academy of Science talks to president of Russia, and he says we basically obtained a breakthrough in hypersonic technologies. Okay, so what does it mean? Well, I mean, if that hasn't been enough, what the hell is coming online? And he's talking about that this technology is in demand. The military-industrial complex is acquiring it and things of this nature. And then, of course, he, as RIA News reports, that the rest of it will be basically delivered to Mr. President, will be briefed under conditions of very high secrecy. So we're looking at the rumor was around this, and again, it's a rumor, but you know what? We can go out on a limb here a little bit because obviously everybody remember. I just want to remind you, when the zircon rumors started to basically circulate, and because, journalism is not really a profession and they are incompetent people, they were writing things about that, oh, zircon has a range of 300 kilometers, okay? And this was all over the place. And I was constantly, if you go back to my 10 years ago, to my blog, and I was saying, no. This is what this regime of the non-proliferation of the cruise missiles is. They do not allow more than 300 kilometers. But for Russia, I mean, the domestic versions of everything, they are not under this regime. In fact, it's not even treaty. It's just merely a regime. It's basically the gentleman's agreement between parties like United States, Russia, and the others, that we're not providing for sale anything which is longer than 300 kilometer range. So then, of course, officially it comes out, and then we have this about 4 years ago, you have this, just sensational thing. Oh yeah, 322 zircon range, 1500 kilometers. Like, okay. Then, I mean, many people also do not understand that Kinjal, which is also hypersonic, it's 2,000 kilometers missile itself. The carrier, actually, the aircraft, has a range of more than 1,000 kilometers. So, but because it was MiG-31K, it has to take off, accelerate to Mach 2.8 or whatever, and drop the thing. So it's 3,000 kilometers. So now the rumor was that not only it's going to be much faster. Zircon, for example, is Mach 10. And this is the missile nobody else has, because essentially it's a constantly powered flight. It's not like aeroballistic. You know what, burnout speed, shuts down, and then the thing just flies. No. Zircon flies under its own power until it hits the target. And it can actually also not only maneuver, it can change the regime. So at Mach 10, the rumor was in excess of Mach 13. So in excess of that, we expect Mach 15. And people say, yeah, at least 2,500 kilometers. It was a original statement made about 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah, well, even if we consider the fact that it's 2,500 kilometer range, Russians do have, and that's another thing, good targeting information. They do have the things for the firing solution. You basically place one submarine of Yashin class, which ship in the middle of North Atlantic, and that's it. Nothing passes by it. I mean, well, there you go. It's 5,000 kilometer diameter. Okay, so it's more than half of the Atlantic. And now, can you imagine if you have 2 submarines, and they all carry all that kind of things, and then you have surface fleet, and then whatever we can. The other thing which I think, apart from obviously there are modifications of Oreshnik, remember the effect Oreshnik produced, and they say, oh, it's above Mach 10. Yeah, those nerves, they're probably more than that. And again, above Mach 10, it could be anywhere, Mach 15, Mach 18. So yeah, it's basically the useless militaries. I mean, everything but the model is there, it's over. Then there is another thing which many people don't understand. The Russians did have a breakthrough in terms of not only speed, materials, this insane parameters. They have the ability to command and control, manage those things. How the communications go there, how they acquire targets, that's the state secret. Nobody knows, but they do. And boy, they really performed well in special military operation. And so the next thing, which probably will...
Uh-oh, you're freezing up, Andrei. Andrei's freezing right now. Oh, and it's just getting exciting, and he's freezing up. Hey, Andrei, if you can hear him. Oh, there you go. Okay, start over again. You said the next thing that probably will what?
R-37. It's Mach 6, longest range missile in the world, up to 400 kilometers. It shouldn't forget, air-to-air missile. So 700 kilometer range, shouldn't forget missile, acquiring the target through all kinds of the things, including the space based constellation and things of this nature, and from other heterogeneous sources. Absolutely. And not Mach 6, how about Mach 10? So and
these are the say the fighter planes or whatever would carry this to fire at the enemy planes.
Yeah.
Well, they'd be and what kind of range?
700 kilometers, something like that.
What kind of range? Yeah. The Americans, I know they use those like the AMRAAMs for the
that's the only thing they have. AMRAAM, yeah.
And what kind of range does that have?
AIM 120 under perfect conditions is 180 kilometers. But reality probably around 160, 165, still middle range, so nowhere near to R-37, and R-37 already combat proven in the most difficult, including electronic warfare conditions, and it's down quite a bit, a big chunk of the Ukrainian Air Force. So, and that's the other thing. I mean, we are in a completely new territory, and I'm going to be making video about it tomorrow. And as I state all the time, do you know those U.S. Army, Army doctrinal publications, ADPs? Field manuals, famous FM 3-0, which are operations, FM 4-0, which is of sustainment, and how they do not work. They simply stop working. And I will show you something, but it's after we're done. It's not for, just, it's from special military operation that so it's basically the thing that warfare changed so much that no matter what you do, no matter how you write your field manuals, or no matter how you arrange your operations, no matter how you arrange your programs in preparing your cadre military officers, and so no matter how you try, it's not gonna change anything. And that's the issue. And many people I like what Doug McGregor yesterday stated. I disagree with him, completely on his reading of the Soviet history and World War II. But in general, his view on the situation in the United States today is correct. We are on the same page here. So you cannot explain to American general, like this Donahue guy, that, dude, you will not be able to deploy a freaking single column, So you just cannot. And even your documents, your own U.S. Army documents from 2024, which were published early 2025, when you read the list of the problems with the sustainment, the United States never fought a war, anything like this. And the guy obviously makes those statements about, taking Kaliningrad and everything. So I don't know why he does this. It's just basically a famous fable about the pug and the elephant. That pug was barking at the elephant. I've been saying this for years now. United States lost the arms race. It has also lost the operations and strategy approaches to the warfare. And it's beyond the reach. And now the gap, which we're talking about, it's not just hypersonic. Many people do not understand. You can give, for example, this technology, Russian technology, to some country which is, never dealt with it. And guess what? They will lose the war because they will not be able to properly apply it and properly, conduct operational planning. It is the whole art in itself, and people do not understand how important it is, So you have to have this on one side, you have the technology which drives the tactical, operational, and strategic issues, but in the same time, it's the vertical, it's constantly interacts, between itself. And so in this, as I already stated, you read those publications, say, okay, we do this. No, you don't. We do this. No, you cannot do this. And today, I will be reviewing this document. It's a very important document. It's professional document. U.S. Army still retains a large degree of the professionalism on the level of its, training and doctrinal commands and things of this nature. Certain degree of professionalism, let's put it this way. And when you read this, you can immediately point out that they cannot do this. You cannot do that. You don't have means to do this. You're outranged. You cannot hide. You cannot do this. You cannot. So, can you sustain? Let's say, well, they did the estimate of 3,600 casualties per day per U.S. Army. If they attack Kaliningrad, Washington will cease to exist. That somebody has to tell to Mr. Donahue, you do not attack Russian territory. So he evidently. It's a tremendous case of the professional envy and jealousy. And as a result, it's an insufferable case. They cannot just stand. So he commanded like 82nd in Afghanistan. Did he command a battalion in the real war? Nope. They don't even know what it is.
Let me ask you this. I do want to know this. Kinjal, Zircon. We often hear them, the two of them used. What's the difference? They're both hypersonic missiles, but I understand there is a difference. What's the difference between those two missiles?
Kinjal is aeroballistic missile. That means it needs to be launched from the aircraft. So the aircraft which can launch it is MiG-31K and I version, I believe. These are high supersonic. They without this weapon, they can easily sustain Mach 2.9 speed. So it's almost edging on the Mach 3 speed. So they can accelerate carrying single Kinjal missile to Mach 2.5. Then once they accelerate, they drop this missile, the motor, the engine turns on. It is a high impulse fuel. It's called gasoline. So, and it accelerates it to this Mach 10, 11. And once it accelerates to, it basically it turns off, shuts off. And after that, it flies completely under whatever the acceleration was provided for it and velocity which was provided for it, and maneuvers and then hits the targets. 2,000 kilometers. Zircon is a completely different animal. That's what many people. It flies constantly under its own power. That means what? It doesn't have burnout speed. It starts, if it need be, it starts at Mach 10, it ends at Mach 10. No deceleration due to the resistance of the air, as happens, for example, Kinjal accelerates them. Their data is different a little bit. People say that it accelerates to Mach 11, and then because once they shut off, obviously it begins to decelerate throughout the flight, and it reaches the target at about Mach 7 to 8, still extremely high hypersonic. But Zircon, it just flies with the Mach 10 if need be, and nothing stops it. It's because of that. It's a shorter range because it has to have its own boost phase of starting from vertical launch systems such as Bastion, which is ground-based, which also shoots Onyx. And you can see now it's not a secret anymore. It was obviously, when you look attentively at the Zircon shooting out from the vertical launch system, 3S-14 on the Admiral Gorshkov class frigates, and you can see the body of the missiles is obviously round. It could look as the Onyx type thing, and people say it's Onyx based. It's not Onyx, but it's Onyx based. But you can see yourself this cover of the front, which is deliberate, that nobody can see it. And once it reaches the whatever cruising altitude of about 20-25 kilometers, obviously the thing falls off. You can even see when they how it starts from Gorshkov class frigates. You can see how fast it is. It just shoots off. That thing is the true diamond or gem in the crown of the hypersonic weapons. And now they say, it's 3,500 kilometers, probably 3.5. It's like, dude, oh my God.
Well, so now go. So we understand the Kinjal is, like, as you said, it's it basically fires off and then it kind of glides.
Flies on the ballistic, quasi-ballistic trajectory, quasi-suppressed ballistic trajectory. Zircon, it has actually, from what I heard, I don't know if it's true, so don't quote me on that, but from what I heard, Zircon also have the regime, which is, it obviously because of this regime, it's due to the density of the air, its range drops, but it can fly very low. It can fly in meters above, well, probably hundreds of meters above the water, and because of that, the resistance of the air much stronger, its range diminishes. But again, still, it doesn't matter. And most of the time, you cannot see those things flying because they fly into this, plasma cocoon. Modern, Western air defense radar, they don't see them. They see them only when in the last few seconds, and it's too late anyway. So, and even if it wasn't too late, what do you want to intercept it with? There's not
Right.
much.
And then where's okay, so you've got the Zircon, the Kinjal, and then we go to the Oreshnik.
Oreshnik is an intermediate range missile. If you put it on Chukotka, which is still Russian territory, it becomes suddenly intercontinental missile. You know why? And I showed this scheme many times, because suddenly most of the United States, except for the Laris, places in Florida, is covered if it's, you shoot it from Chukotka and it's mobile complex. So,
so it's ground-based? I mean, ground launched?
Ground launched, yeah. It's essentially, it's a launcher which is on wheeled. You can move it, you can load it into the, for example, Antonov 1-4, this large transport aircraft, and you can transport it anywhere. It drives somewhere, just erects it, tube, what is called transport container, or shoots off, and it's off. And somewhere those 36 nerves will land. And, I don't know, just
so apparently it has like what? So apparently, my understanding, it has basically like 6 pods of 6 missiles, and each of them are hypersonic. Now, what is this? I understand that it can, of course, it can have nuclear or conventional, but they have some kind of a explosive metal that generates a really high temperature.
Well, I mean, it's so classified. The only thing which we know for sure, Mr. Putin himself, and this is president of Russian Federation, this is not Martyanov talking. I'm just merely quoting the guy. And he says, essentially what you have pieces of the surface of sun with the temperatures up to 5,000 degrees Celsius. It's insane. Flying in. What are you gonna do with that? I mean, that's it. 5,000 degrees, up to 5,000 degrees. I don't know. It's just, but as you know, we're already waiting for 9 months now for those photos from the huge march, which evidently, as everybody says, oh no, it's still intact, it's okay, So, and Oreshnik, we know, and and Larry told you, and everybody told you, and we know it, and I was told it is a complete game changer. So, and it's a game changer not only in terms of the shooting there, basically some military installations in terms of which we understand. It has an enormous ground penetration capability, and then 5,000 kilometers range. Even if you detect that it is launched, what you're gonna do? And if you are, and this is what is interesting, they beginning to finally, there is a tone. This is what I have to say. Many people do not understand. If you read previous, let's say 2000s, early 2000s. American, U.S. Army doctrinal publications, ADPs, okay? You can hear this. Oh, yeah, we are the best, peerless, all that. And then suddenly, just today, in the peer competition, and the peers, our peers, okay, well, at least this condescending attitude changes. The problem, of course, United States is not even the peer here. They don't have anything like this. And that's the thing, which is has to be understood. And in terms of Oreshnik, it's not only capable, of course, they will try to, God forbid, we go to any kind of war, conventional war. But first, basically all those early warning satellites will be suppressed. But in terms of their following the deployment of those mobile complexes, you will lose it, even if you have part of the constellation in war. For example, just many people have to understand. You touch any kind of the Spears, American Spears satellite, or you touch it, you can't, but theoretically you can try to, or you touch Russian Kupol satellites, nuclear war starts immediately, because these are early warning strategic missile launch satellites, which only Russia and United States have. And obviously touching them, it's casus belli, and that means what? You wanted to kill those satellites and you want to attack. That's how the correct presumption. So immediately the protocols initiated, and that means what? Oh, we are under nuclear attack. So those satellites, in case of really, God forbid, as I already stated, NATO and Russia go to war, they will not be touched. Because essentially Russians, because of the acceleration dominance, they will be, holding this dominance and keeping this under their primarily a conventional form. And it doesn't mean that it cannot escalate into nuclear. And but the point is that even if they see somehow when the other satellites are suppressed, you don't touch spears, but you can touch other satellites. Like keyholes, they will be shut down, so, and things of this nature. So, and then what are you going to do? You have, let's say, what? If the Russians, you want to deploy your brigade, okay, on the assembly areas. You cannot just, things do not work in army as many people think. Oh, yeah, you just, unload it from the, ship or whatever, and they roll in. Well, they need to assemble. And you can take a look at the brigade combat team assembly area. Yeah, single Areshnik and that's it. There will be no brigade team left. Just none, gone, all of it, with the equipment and things like that nature. And so even if they have early warning, the only thing you can do if you have early warning is say, oh, we have 5 minutes, run. And this is the only way. And it's not a guarantee you can run far away, but that's how it works. And obviously, people in Pentagon, those who still retain any degree of professional integrity, and they understand, which was written, all of the ports of NATO in Europe, they will be off, they will be destroyed without any nuclear weapons. You can destroy Bremerhaven, you can destroy Marseille, you can destroy pretty much anything in whatever can take Rotterdam. You can basically destroy all of the possible ports where U.S. Army theoretically can basically, if you can move your convoys with the prepositioning force to support whatever 100,000 of American troops now in Europe, it's a joke, so, and they know it. And that is why it's posturing, barking, just. Yeah,
well, in the event, as you say, God forbid, we didn't want that to happen. In the event that there was a war between the United States and Russia, well, and the U.S. was planning on some kind of a ground war, they would have to transport the troops across the Atlantic by ship. And as you said, you put 2 Yasin-class submarines out there with hypersonic missiles, and any ship that leaves the port will be instantly be picked up by space-based intelligence, targeted, and it's not going to get far out of the port, is it?
Yeah. In fact, these ports probably will be attacked. It's not like it's, if they want to play this game. So, yeah, that's the whole thing. It's what many people didn't understand. I was accused, well, I turned out to be correct. They said, oh, it's this Wunderwaffe type thinking. No, the Wunderwaffe in terms of which is German word, obviously, Wunderweapon, which is from the Third Reich. They were in the technological paradigm at that time was rather simple. You have rocketry, you have already rocketry developing, you have those, first cruise missiles, extremely inaccurate, and you didn't have the, opportunity to produce them enough anyway. And even Stalin wrote to Churchill that, British people are tough, they're courageous people. They really, when Churchill was complaining that we are getting bombed and their Faust, those V1s and whatever, V2s also flying. Yeah. He said, British people are courageous people. They will not be intimidated by all those pinpricks, which turned out to be correct. The British, on stiff upper lip, they took it and endured it. So, but today it's completely different thing. That's what many people do not understand, especially when you consider we have exponential growth in the in the processing of the information, development of the sensors. And hypersonics It is a breakthrough technology. It is not some kind like, oh yeah, we made the V1, rocket or V2, and here it is. No, 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 no. This is revolutionary because it actually opens doors in a completely different type of the warfare. One target, one hit, done. It's over. That wasn't the case during World War II. It wasn't the case even in 1970s, already with the development of the strategic missile systems, which were pretty accurate on both sides, Soviet and American one. So, and this one, as already stated, I don't know how you can even deal with this. I mean, you have to provide your own revolution. You have to provide primarily what United States doesn't have. It doesn't have air defense which can handle this. Russians do. They have this specifically designed for anti-hypersonic operations.
Well, right off the bat, when you talk about dogfights and air-to-air combat, etc., well, if the Russians now have a hypersonic air-to-air missile that has a 500, 600, 700 mile range,
not yet, range, but no, 400. 400 have been confirmed. Kilometers.
Right. So let's say 400 kilometers. And they're up against someone that has 165 kilometers. You start that, you lost that fight before it starts. I don't care what the platform, I don't care what your plane is like, I don't care anything else. It doesn't matter the platforms. If one of them has twice the range, you might as well have a cannonball and a cannon and a catapult and a musket fighting against them.
And there is another thing. There, for example, AIM-120, which is AMRAAM. For example, if you attack, consider this, 160 kilometers. It's a pretty damn, it's 100 miles actually, so it's a very respectable range. If you get the targeting, if you have this blip on the radar and it develops firing solution, you launch the missile, which has Mach 3.5. In 100, let me put it this way: if you have 160 kilometers, Mach 3.5, roughly, it's 1 kilometer per second. Okay, so you have 160 seconds. Okay, what is 160 seconds? It's it's basically 2.5 minutes. For modern aircraft like a Su-35 or Su-30, let alone a Su-57, it's enough to get out of the from the envelope, kill envelope and get the hell out of it. They have 2 minutes. Now, when you shoot something which is Mach 6, it already flies twice faster, and then suddenly you have, you don't have, and then don't forget, you cannot gain the distance because by the time you will be getting out of the envelope, you have the missile which more than 2.5 times longer range. So you're still gonna get caught, and it has enough speed to just overtake you. So, and then if we go into the higher speed and longer range, I mean, we have Mach 10 missile, air-to-air missile. What you're gonna do? They see you on the blip, or somebody, satellite tells you, oh yeah, it's shoot and forget. You get the targeting, you launch, you shoot, turn around, get out, and you're done. The fact is, the R-37 was developed specifically to kill AWACS planes with its range that it's going basically no Air Force. Modern Air Force fights without the, those sentries, because they provide the combat management, they provide early warning, they vector them into appropriate, basically position, what have you. Then suddenly, and then there is another thing. That's what many people still do not get, and this is information which, well, if you are not professional and you're not there, and you don't have the highest level clearance, we know that S-400 missiles fly at 400 kilometers. We know that S-500 missiles fly at 600 kilometers. Okay, good luck. Any NATO Air Force getting into those kill zones. And again, they want to jam, they will be jammed back. That's the whole thing. And can we have the, modern air-to-air, dogfights? Well, there is certainly, I'm not specialist in the air combat. I'm not, I'm not a combat pilot by education, my military background, but there is always a chance that who knows what happens, suddenly you pop up and then, but again, even this dogfight will be still on the fairly significant ranges. And it's, I can give you one thing though, and I know that's why there is so much consternation, desperation, sour grapes, and envy. And there is only one Air Force in the world which has the combat record of the beyond visual range kills. U.S. Air Force doesn't even register there. Okay, this is Russian Air Force. Most of those kills were beyond visual range. It's just, what do you want to do? Do you want to compare records? Russians eventually will do their white paper on that, but we have to wait and deal with those bits as morsels of the information we can get.
Well, the other thing is this, and I think down the Wunderwaffens, the wonder weapons. Oh, we're going to send the ATACMS or this or that. Now, one part of it, I'm sure the Russians are saying don't do that because they can send these things. But I imagine there's another side, a technical side, saying, yes, we want them to shoot some ATACMS at us because we want to be able to evaluate. We want to learn about them. Some of them are going to be duds. I've seen instances where the Russians had a storm shadow or something that flopped and fell down, or they shot down and it was intact, and they were showing that they were taking it in. So when the U.S. says we're firing these missiles, ATACMS, whatever we're firing that they haven't filed, every time they come out fired, when they come out with a new one of these wonder weapons, the Russians then get to do two things. Number one, they can evaluate how their defensive means work against this.
Yeah.
And ideally, if they can get one eventually intact or fairly close to intact, they can take that in, bring that in, take it apart, and design advanced defensive measures against it. So even this business about we're going to fire all of these new things at you that we haven't fired before, there's a certain advantage for the Russians to have that stuff fired at them because NATO doesn't know what it's like.
ATACMS have been captured. You can find the video of this pretty much intact. So Russians had the all, day, field day with it. I mean, so the same goes with HIMARS. By the way, this is how the deputy commander of the Black Sea Fleet, of the coastal forces of the Black Sea Fleet, Major General and hero of Russia, Gudkov, killed. There was a rat among them, and they gave the targeting to HIMARS. So they've shot 5 HIMARS. 4 HIMARS have been shot down. 1 hit him and his people. That's how HIMARS. So, but Russians generally know. So yeah, you get lucky once in a while, And the problem with them Russian generals, they just cannot sit in the goddamn, headquarters or staff somewhere. No, they need to go to the, that's what they do.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, they get killed because they just stay with the troops. They command from the front line. You have to be combat general, It's like almost, remember, Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump. I was supposed to die here. Why the hell did you, save me? That's exactly the attitude. I mean, this is how Russian generals, most of them think. And so that's how you get, and yeah, they get lucky. They can kill, 1 or 2, generals or, high-level professionals there. But generally speaking, it is well known what is happening there in terms of the technological development of obviously not Ukrainian, United States, NATO, whatever they can do. It's not easy to integrate new solutions into existing technology. It's not like, oh yeah, we suddenly learn something about Russian thing. Let's change something. No, if you have some technology, it requires a long process unless your military industrial complex is fully on the, basically war rails or war footing. Then it's different. Your R&D departments work 24/7, and I'm not exaggerating. They do work 24/7 in shifts, and scientists and engineers come in. They see that, they immediately go, and this is how actually very many plants and institutes, they have the plants, industrial plants, which are essentially attached to them. So they have the chance to incorporate, and that's why Russians are just basically took off like, rocket sled, and yeah, that's what they do. This was happening during World War II. Now, on the new technological reality of the 21st century, we have this situation that this technology changes constantly. And that's why when I say like, oh yeah, S-500 can shoot, at 600 kilometers. I don't know. Not anymore. I mean, they could shoot something longer range. We it's the cycle of 24/7. Remember this hysteria about, oh, Russians don't produce Armata, T-14 tanks, they are not used. Who told you they are not used? They've been using both from the cover firing positions, and they took part in some engagements and performed extremely well. They do still get those mangals. They introduced, some changes. Same goes, the bunch of the fanboys, they see that something disappears, like BMPT Terminator. Oh, it's failure. How the hell could it be the failure when it is in serial production? But just because some journal didn't show it to them, they assume that, oh, you remember those wonderful things. And then suddenly, when the Terminator produced a really impressive, big impression. And then suddenly the Terminators are back in focus. And they never left. They've been here all along. They work all along, So it's just that they change technology. They update it, they change software, they change sensors sometimes, they change other things, including armor protection, they change some kind of the, ballistic computer. And, it's 24/7, 24/7.
And, one of the things that I find interesting that most people don't know, they'll talk about Chinese technology or this kind of technology or that kind of technology. There are very few nations that can produce a plane like Russia and the US. I mean, a Russian plane, everything's Russian. The engines are Russian, everything is Russian. Where a lot of companies, let's say the French, they may have their Rafale jet or whatever. But when you start looking through a lot of time, these various different countries that make stuff, they got Honeywell here, they got Raytheon there. They might have Rolls-Royce, they may have Pratt and Whitney engines or whatever. But Russia's, as my understanding is, a Russian fighter plane, the Russian military plane, is Russian through and through. And there's just, when we talk about Germany, we were told that the Russian economy was a pipsqueak beside the mighty, powerful German economy. Well, there's a lot of problems to that. But Germany can't produce a plane.
Yeah, it can produce anything over the modern battlefield of the 21st century, except for some, some frigate and maybe. And again, I constantly try to use this example, and this is just one example. You look at the Alvaro de Bazan, Spanish pride, and well, sure, it's a good shipyard. They build those frigates, Alvaro de Bazan. Each time you ask, what is the engine? Well, engine actually is also derivative of the American engines, but you look at the electronic suite, everything from radar to Aegis system, the radio, sonar suite, American, vertical launch systems on K-41, American. Pretty much, you look at this, what is Spanish in it? No, the hull, some other systems, maybe relays here and there, solenoids, maybe, so it's American ship. It's essentially remove American support from NATO. They are nobodies. France, the motherland, it's motherland, although it is consortium, obviously, it's European consortium of the Airbus. And Airbus makes excellent commercial planes.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so it's wonderful planes. And so, but you look attentively at French Air Force. Oh, yeah, we have Rafales. We produce them like 3 a year, or maybe 5. I don't know, maybe 4. So, and that's pathetic to start with. But guess what? What do they use for their early warning? Oh, yeah, those American 707s, AVACs, E3 Sentries. With American everything on radar and everything. Remove them. What do they have? Oh, they have some, whatever the name of their private jet, which they turn into the sort of AVACs. And nowhere the capability of the obviously American system like the E3 Sentry. Then you go and look at this. Oh yeah, our nuclear aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle. Oh yeah, we have. Well, they don't fly Supertenders anymore. They fly Rafales there primarily now. And guess who does their early warning system there? Oh yeah, E2 Hawkeyes. Oh yeah, American made. So in this France, this is independent France. The only thing they have independent really is their tricky Leclerc tanks, which never saw the real combat. There's a reason they hide them. They don't want to send them. and nuclear basically deterrent. Yeah, they produced 4 submarines. They're good submarines, Electron from class with the totally French ballistic missiles. So yeah, that's what they do. The rest of it, I mean, they can pretend whatever they want. They'll have like 200 Leclerc tanks. They say, oh, we have 400 in reserve, in conservation. No, you don't. They use as spare parts because out of those active 222, half is not active. It's broken. So, oh yeah, they have 100. My gosh, they have 3 battalions essentially of the Leclerc tanks. Russians look at this, they laugh obviously. Whole Europe, the whole of Europe, including Rhine-Metal, those Germans, those French, those what have you, they can produce 40 tanks a year. Russians produce 1,200 tanks a year. So there you go. So they want to fight Russians. And this is Russia is not even fully committed. Remember this thing? Oh, 40% of the budget goes to, well, I mean, it's Wall Street Journal. They're morons, as most of those people are. But yeah, it's 6.5% of the GDP goes to special military operations. If Russia will start using 40% of her GDP, you don't want to go there, okay? So this is not going to be 1,200 tanks a year. There will be more like, and I'm not kidding, I'm not exaggerating. There will be more like 1,200, a month, So, and if they want to fight this, I mean, why don't they go and read real history of the World War II? As Roger Waters, beloved Roger Waters, the genius musician, the true humanitarian, and yeah, I don't share all of his, obviously, political views, but Roger Waters, being genius musician, the founder of Pink Floyd, he stated a year or so ago, and he talked about, I don't remember, it was at BBC or even CNN. He said, you don't even have any idea what you got yourself into with Russians. And said, yeah, he told, just look at the history. So, and if they think that modern NATO is measures up to adjusted for time with Third Reich and its allies, I have a bridge to sell them. They are chihuahuas really compared to Hitler and his allies from Italy, the Hungary, Romania, Finland, what have you. So there you go. Hey, adjust. You go to military academy. You go to all those staff, command colleges, and you command something in Afghanistan. It's absolutely irrelevant to the modern warfare. So other than the, high intensity police operation, yeah, you can die there. Absolutely. They can shoot at you with RPG. What are you going to do when you have the freaking tornado and they have the battalion of several batteries of tornadoes, flying at you? You're not going to survive. Neither will your unit. And we're talking about not company, battalion, you're going to be gone, and there's nothing which can stop it. And that's the point. They do not understand the relation of the correlation of forces and means. And only those people who understand, who have enough professional military professionalism and are not into this political, thing, promoting themselves and, thumping their chest, like the chimpanzees, or gorillas, in the zoo to show that they're tough. Do they even understand what it is? They have to understand. They do anything wrong, NATO headquarters will be no more, including under their bunkers and everything. No nuclear weapons. It just will be gone. There will be nobody to control it or what have you. The Russians have all coordinates where their commands are. They know everything, So, and that's the thing. That's how the war changed. They cannot do the same to Russia. For a simple reason, even during the Soviet times. This is 1970s, early 1980s, the air defense of the Central Industrial District, Moscow and around that, the large, it's, the size of France. That air defense could repulse the first go single salvo. Well, with the leakers, make no mistake, nothing is 100%. But it could have stopped and mitigate the salvo of the 1,300 Tomahawk and ballistic missiles. 1,300. And that was in the early 80s. So, and many people still do not understand what it is. Since then, things changed. And, so you still get leaker here and there, you get lucky and things like that. But remember they showed that, oh yeah, S-400 has been like a couple of years ago in Krasnodar was, just destroyed by some kind of missile. No, it wasn't missile. It was sabotage with the same thing that they did, launching those drones from behind, and you don't see it. You cannot shoot down and you cannot destroy S-400 like this. So, and that's the whole thing. And they still believe, some of those people, they still believe that they can fight.
Let me ask you this. I understand now that Russia is launching many hundreds of drones nightly now, and that their production of drones is up to the many hundreds per day of the significant drone. Of the what are they, geranium or geron drones?
Yeah, it's just geraniums, 600 geraniums a day per day. So, and Russia can conduct combined strikes, combined meaning obviously heterogeneous geraniums. There is new thing came out which is scary, banderol, called banderol, small parcel. That's how it's a hybrid between drone and cruise missile with a range of 600 kilometers. I don't know, many of them are produced now. It's in serial production. So up to 1,000 means of fire impact on Ukraine daily. So
what's now the geranium, I know the original ones were smaller. What size? Because it seems to me now, I've seen videos of geranium strikes, and man, that's one hell of an explosion. I used to see them in the past, and you'd hear the little motor, it's a little two-cycle, and there was a pretty good hit. But now the explosion from one of those darn things looks like they got hit by a damn nuclear missile. I mean, gigantic fires. It's incredible.
They are 2.5 to 3 meters high. They have very large wingspan. There are photos of even people standing next to them, and you look at the production facility where they churn them out. It's well, let's say put this way: it's 3.5 meters with, not 3.5, 2.5 meters. It's about 9 feet high, so you can stick on it, and pretty substantial warhead, And again, what many people do not understand, they do not understand. Explosives themselves are being developed. It is completely new types of chemistry which goes in. That is why you look at this. Yeah, and that thing flies, whatever it's warhead, 150 kilograms or whatever, because we do not know, so they can tell us whatever they want. But so that thing, my gosh, that explodes, as you correctly stated. That explodes at what used to be 300 kilograms of the TNT, and look at this. What the hell are they doing there? It's new chemistry. It's new development of everything. Weapons. Sadly, that's who we are. We are people. Russians do not want to fight, obviously, but they have to. But because Russians have to survive, they develop weapons which kill. And they are the best in the world in this respect. So, what can I say? It's just the cold hard fact. It's not Russian rah-rah and all that. No, it's just the way it is, And there are many videos of how those things, including, many people didn't see Lancet Zala recently. Oh no, they used every day, man, with the devastating effect, So, and in terms of the PV drones, I don't know how many thousands they produce daily. Okay, so yeah, it's just Russians just committed themselves to special military operation. As I already stated, if Russia goes to the full war footing, you don't want to deal with that, So because there will be a million armies, and they will be extremely well equipped and trained. And
the one last question, and that is something you mentioned that last week. We got 7 minutes, so something you mentioned before, and I looked it up, and it's the Bastion. It's a coastal defense system. Apparently, it's an anti-missile battery that is placed. Sometimes they'll put it on an island. They'll put it. It's moving around, but they'll put it. But apparently, for people who don't understand what this Bastion coastal defense system, anti-missile system, whatever. I mean, anti-ship.
No, it's not anti-ship. That's
okay. What is it?
It's a P-800 Onyx, including its latest versions, which have the Mach 2.5 and 1,000 kilometer range, 1,000 plus. And of course, the bastions are well known and well documented, are also capable, because zircon is based on onyx. They can carry, and they carried and launched zircon 322 missiles, hypersonics. So what they do, they belong to the brigades, separate brigades of the coastal defense, and it's literally in their title. They defend coast from any kind of the maritime threat, naval threat from the enemy. How they defend it? They get targeting, they sink whatever the fleet tries to avoid, so simple as that. And they can work on both ships, on whatever is there, including obviously fixed targets, which is easy, really, get the coordinates, bang. I mean, it's not easy, but I'm just explaining it using my fingers essentially here. So yeah, that's what it is. There is another thing, which is of course called BAL, not Bastion, but BAL. They shoot. They have 8 launchers per vehicle. They shoot X-35s. They are subsonic missiles. Some people call them harpoonsky because they look like similar with harpoon. They have excellent defense against electronic warfare. So they are subsonic. But when you launch 8 of them against ship, that becomes, so, and they are smart missiles, and they have the range of about 600 kilometers. So you look at this, that Russians said, yeah, why do we have to go to sea and fight them over there? We can launch from here, which will reach over there, and they will be sunk. So they will never reach the. So that's pretty much the idea behind it, and that's how it was developed by Gorshkov, and since 1960s essentially. And yeah, these are the cruise missiles and missilery.
Well, thank you very much, Andrei. Once again, everybody, let me show you before we go. It's Andrei's very important site. One of the things I always tell people is, the people that you see online that seem to have a vague idea of what we're talking about, we're not all experts, but we go to Sonar 21, which is Larry's Johnson's site. We go to Reminiscence of the Future here. I like Moon of Alabama. There's a lot of places you can go, Consortium News, and you can find out what's going on. You can follow your various, online personalities. And of course, people that have books. Scott has his books there. Look at this, America's Final War, Disintegration. And here's a great one. It's called, well, here's 2. The Real Revolution in Military Affairs and Losing Military Supremacy, the Myopia of American Strategic Planning. So there's a lot of important stuff there. Boy, that looks like a sad eagle there, my friend. The Sakers. But at any rate, thanks a lot, Andrei. Really appreciate it. And, look forward to talking to you again soon. And keep up the good work.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. And don't forget also, Andrei has a great YouTube show called Smoothie X12. Make sure you go there and you become a member, whatever the case may be. Share this on all your social media platforms. If you can follow me on Rockville and follow me on Rumble, follow me here, of course, on YouTube. If you can afford it, buy me a coffee, Patreon, something like that, PayPal. If not, the important thing you can do, share this on all your social media platforms. Thanks a lot. We're out.